Hello, this is Scotty G, and today I'm going to do a showcase on a guitar that I recently acquired. This is a Fender American Deluxe Stratocaster. It is a 2012 from the serial number, and it is in Sienna Sunburst. I believe that's the name of the color. I think I'm the second owner of it. I'm not sure, might be the third, but it has not been played very much. It looked, in fact, like it had never ever been played out and maybe had been played a couple times at home. So very nice guitar. I take notice of finding a guitar of this originality of that age. It's 10 years old at the time of this filming, so I was really happy to come across this. I'll just go over some of the features of the guitar. One of the first things I notice on the headstock, it has the Spritzel type locking tuners. It has 3 long and 3 short peg heads, and 1 modern string tree. Truss rod adjusts at the headstock. 22 frets. It has the N3 pickups, which are the noiseless pickups, the 3rd generation. And I think Fender has actually done a lot of work at improving their noiseless pickups. There are some people who can disagree with that, but playing the guitar through an amp, I've been really happy with the way it sounds. I think one of the ways that they improve the N3s is with the metal that they use in the magnets. So I don't know all about the science in that, but you can read some of the literature that Fender has. Of course, this is not a new guitar, so it didn't come with a manual. I had to do some reading about the features that it has that kind of set it apart. One other thing that I noticed, this trem bar is a little different from some of the older model Strats that I've played, which are threaded. So this one just pushes in and pulls out, which I kind of like. The threaded are kind of nice because they just stay in one spot, but this one swings right into place, and the installation is just that much easier. The other thing that I'll get into a little more is the S1 switching, which is located right here on the volume knob. So when it's pressed in, the S1 is engaged. And I'll show you a diagram of some of the settings. And what I was finding with the S1, there are really only 2 settings that I just really love. And for the most part, I would just play it as just a standard Strat, but very versatile. You know, you have your 5 settings of a normal Strat, and then with the S1, it's 5 more. So I can't think of any more settings that you would want on a Strat. So pretty impressive electronics. One other thing, the bridge pickup, kind of one of those phantom modifications that a lot of Strat players do, that it's just understood is kind of a nice thing to do. The bridge pickup does have an attachment to the tone knob. So bridge pickup on a Strat can get a little bit harsh. Usually I just have it at 10, so it does have a no load pot on the tone, but I usually just set it at 10, so it's like a normal Strat without a tone control. But you have that capability to soften the sound of the bridge pickup, so that's kind of nice. Also, it's kind of a mint green pick guard, which fits the aesthetic of the guitar. The white parts are vintage white. And just looking at this guitar, you can see it's a nice piece of lumber. It is an ash body, which has a little straighter grain than some of the ones that I've seen on the American Deluxe. But that's kind of what I like. You have your own unique guitar. I don't think the ash really affects the sound that much. I'm not going to say one way or another. I think it's mostly the pickups, but it just looks nice. So I think you got to have some style. That's I like to have a guitar that has a look. A couple other things. I'll turn the guitar around. This is one of the ways I knew the guitar had not been played out a lot. It has this still, and there's also a carved part, kind of a recessed neck pocket, so it's easier to play the higher registers. And so that is the American Deluxe Stratocaster. The reason that I acquired this guitar is I work with one band in particular that does a lot of E-flat tuning, and I would like to have one guitar that's in standard tuning and one in E-flat. So I don't really want to keep setting up and resetting the tuning. I just want to have a guitar that I can leave set up to E-flat. I think it's better for the guitar. It's probably cheaper in the long run as opposed to sending your guitar into the shop 10 times to be set up. So with that being said, I'm going to do a little bit of playing and just demonstrate some of the settings. And you can see if you like the way it sounds. I will also mention that for this demonstration, this is the amp that I'm using. It has a little bit of hiss as an amp, so I apologize for that. For the most part, this is a pretty quiet guitar. But this is where I set the EQ. This is one of the ways that I get around maybe anything that the N3 is lacking. I think one of the reasons it was so easy for me is I come from playing a Telecaster a lot for a lot of years. And I am just used to spiking the mids just a little bit. So I think with doing that, you can add basically exactly what you need to the sound of the N3. So with that, we'll get going on some sound demonstrations. So I'll mention one more thing about the S1 switching. I really found position 2 from the bridge and position 3 to be money. Those are the two sounds that I like in the S1 switching. Incidentally, those are respectively in position 2, bridge pickup and middle in series, and in 3, it is middle pickup and neck pickup in series. So that's the difference primarily with the S1 switching. Is traditionally on a Strat you have parallel switching, where with the S1 you have your pickups in series instead. So it does give it kind of a bigger afterburner sound. And with those positions in particular, you can just hit the button and it sounds relatively similar to the position that you're in, just with a little bit of a kick to it. So those are the only two positions that I'll demonstrate with the S1. So this has been the American Deluxe Stratocaster from Fender. This is a 2012 model. Fender no longer has the American Deluxe. I believe the model that you would be looking for is the American Ultra, is the equivalent model from the modern day. And I think they're continuing on with the newest generation of noiseless pickups and just all the finest appointments. So I look at this as a guitar that I don't want to modify at all. And I just want to leave everything the way it is. With the N3, you would be basically looking at a loaded pickguard. Just the pickups don't really drop in to anything else. So, I mean, you can do that if you're really into it, but I just want to leave it stock. I think, you know, it's kind of like the Corvette of Stratocasters, so generally you don't buy a Corvette and swap the engine right away. That's just my opinion, but I'm really happy with it. So I would say if you're a player who has been into Telecasters and that's part of your identity and you just want another Strat to round out your collection and you look at this one, I'd say be careful because it might just become your favorite guitar. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you find one of these and maybe pick one up.